Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Tracy Sigler, and I'm going to be working with you this week and next week on the management modules that are part of the Essentials 1 course. So I want to welcome you all, say hello, congratulate you for joining a great MBA program. So I have been here at the Citadel for a year and a half, and I teach leadership, management, organizational behavior, and I work with assessment for the Baker School of Business. Hopefully I'll see some of you in person at an MBA event or in a hybrid class someday. So the management modules, first of all, I posted an announcement last week about the couple materials you need to get for management. And as we go through the modules, I'll point out where those are. So we're starting out with the organization level of management, and then we'll look at the team level and then the individual level next week. Excuse me. So we're going to start out with looking at organizational design and organizational structure. You've probably all seen an organizational chart like you see here in Module 7. So the readings, the links are to the readings. The Galbraith reading is a PDF, so sometimes it's easier if you go to this other link. And then to look at organizational structure in detail, I'm going to have you get a case study from Harvard Business Review on Procter & Gamble. And it looks like I didn't update the price here, so it's $14 now instead of $18 because I found one of the readings available through the library at the Citadel. So you'll have to go online to the Harvard site and pay the $9.97 plus $4.25 for this week. The discussion for the week is to look at the STAR model by Galbraith. And so this is a way to look at designing an organization in terms of the 5 points of the STAR. So that's why it's called the STAR model. And ideally, all these 5 aspects of an organization's design would be in alignment. So the strategy would be supported by the structure, the people would be rewarded in a way that supports that strategy, the processes, would be appropriately aligned with the structure that the people are trying to work within. And so I'm going to ask you to identify, basic description of an organization you know well or a member of, and briefly describe it so that we have some idea. You don't have to give us the real name if you don't want to, or you can choose a public organization that you could look up on the internet. Try to identify and describe each of the 5 points, and then 3, importantly, evaluate the extent to which the organization is aligned. Are all the components aligned, and what's the impact on performance? So, for example, one common misalignment is that we have people working in a team process, but we reward them as individuals. That would be an example of where those 2 points of the STAR are out of alignment. So share those analysis with each other and comment on at least 2 other posts by the end of the week. Then your individual assignment is to look at this Procter & Gamble case. So this is a historical case, so you can actually look if you want to on the internet and see what actually happened. But Procter & Gamble crosses many products and groupings and countries and states, and so it's international, multinational, so it's very complex. You can't get many organizations as complex as Procter & Gamble. So take a look at the case study, look at it, the point at the end of the case. It's asking you what should Lafley do, who's the president or CEO at that time, with the organizational structure. So they've made a change in structure at this point in the case in questioning whether or not to stay with that structure. Was it the right one? Because it's got some problems. So that's your individual assignment to turn in by Sunday night. So the second module for this week has us looking at teams and conflict management. So let me get there. So again, we've got some links to some teams. Teams are often messy, so that's my picture on the right side there. So group development stages. So we know some things about how teams and groups develop and how to most effectively work in a team or develop a team to get the most effective and efficient output. Because if you just put a team of people together or a group and call them a team and they're not really working together effectively or efficiently and have no synergy, it can actually be less efficient than having individuals do work on their own. So the task and maintenance roles will help you analyze and try to make a team more effective because you need both task and maintenance roles being played. Group development article, you may have read about this before, that groups go through stages of development. So immediately when you put people together and say, now you're a team, they don't all of a sudden know how to work together effectively. They go through some fairly predictable and common stages as they hopefully get to the point where they're high-performing teams. Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is a famous kind of practitioner short read. It's great if you're interested in teams, but his perspective is to look at the things that go wrong and to start out with, the basic level. The first dysfunction is lack of trust. So if you don't have people in a team who trust each other, you're never going to get to the highest levels of performance. So the second part of this module is to look at and think about conflict management. So the HBR guide is pretty comprehensive. It's got a lot of pages to it. Skim through it. There's not a lot of words on every page. So this is a resource I think you can hold on to and use as you get into situations where you need to deal with conflict. And then the last reading is helping to identify the different ways, pretty basic, common understanding of 5 different basic approaches to managing conflict, and get you to try to think about when each is appropriate. So there's no one best style for all situations. Okay, so your first discussion is to look at conflict management, because this is an interesting one, I think, to share with other people in the class. So I'm going to ask you to find a video clip that you believe illustrates one of these 5 styles. Post the clip and describe which style is illustrated, why you think it's an example, and then evaluate, was that the best conflict management style in the given situation? Usually, if it's a video clip, it's a conflict management approach gone wrong. And then 3, what do you think is your preferred conflict management style? So again, your discussion posts by Wednesday at midnight, and then respond to at least 2 other posts by Sunday. And then your individual assignment is to try to get into analyzing a team. So a team of which you have been a member, currently a member. It could be a work team, it could be a volunteer team, it can be a sports team or organization, it can be your family. You haven't been on a lot of teams. So evaluate the team and its members. So go back to that reading on the roles and try to identify what roles are being or were being played by the different members. What are the specific behaviors that people exhibited? Were there any roles that were not being played but were needed? Sometimes there's too much maintenance and focus on getting along in the team and not enough getting the task done. Sometimes there's too much focus on the task and people don't really get to know each other as individuals. 2, describe the team in each stage of development. If it's not progressed through all the stages, so ideally all your teams would have hit the high performing stage, but if not, how will you know when that team or when it would have hit each stage? What would it look like? So trying to get you to identify in action, what do these team concepts look like? And then 3, describe the team in terms of the dysfunctions. So discuss each dysfunction and provide examples, if any, from the team. So if you look at the team and you say, okay, they do have a lack of trust, here's what it looks like. Or, okay, we trust each other, but, we got to the second stage, we've conquered the first 2 dysfunctions, but we're in the third, to try to analyze what those look like. And then finally, what are your recommendations based on your analysis and readings from the module? So that's your individual assignment. That's just for me. So look forward to working with you and reading your responses. Let me know if you have any problems getting to the HBR articles or any of the links. I think I've checked them out, so they should be working. But let me know. Have a good week. Where did it go? Let's see if I can find it.